Hi, I'm Adrienne Williams-Octalien, Director of the Office of Disaster Recovery, and welcome to another edition of Recovery Roundup. For this edition, we are here in Christiansted town on the island of St. Croix, where we'll get updates from the Waste Management Authority on their wastewater project. But before we do that, let's check in with Archer Watlington Francis about what's going on with the recovery across the territory.
From the WTJX studio on St. Croix, I am Archer Watlington Francis. A big step towards the start of construction is in motion on one of the territory's most critical healthcare recovery projects. Darryl Smalls, Executive Director of the Territorial Hospital Redevelopment Team, gives us the details.
As we stand here in front of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute, I am happy to report that we have successfully completed the selective demolition of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute. Standing with me is my lead project engineer, Ajay Gregory, who will be able to provide you an update as to the next steps of this most critical project here at the Schneider Regional Medical Center.
As Director Smalls just discussed, we are live here in front of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute, where we now have the solicitation live with bids due on June 14th. At this time, we are anticipating that the notice to proceed will be issued sometime during September of 2023. And from there, we can begin groundbreaking and the start of this new project.
Construction on the new cancer center is expected to begin before the end of 2023. Another demolition project is in the books, this time on the Big Island. The Charles Tappy Seals Fire Station and the adjacent Weed and Seed buildings in Grove Place on St. Croix has been cleared, allowing the Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Services to begin the solicitation process for the construction of a new $5 million multi-purpose facility set to begin by December 2023. Also on St. Croix, demolition is underway to make room for a state-of-the-art medical center. Now that the abatement process is complete, the Department of Health received approval from the Department of Planning and Natural Resources to begin the demolition of the Charles Harwood Medical Complex in Christiansted. Representatives from the agency and the contractor were on site on May 3rd to mark the start of new beginnings for the department and the community. Lamar Tech Senior Project Manager Casey McIntyre shared details on the mitigation measures put in place to protect the residents as well as the students and staff of the Juanita Gardine Elementary School.
As you can see behind me, we do have silk fence set up around the site as well as privacy fence. This will act both as privacy as well as dust barrier. Dust is going to be the primary mitigation that we're going to have on this project. You'll also see one of our dust suppression machines behind me. We will be suppressing our demolition activities to ensure that we can keep dust to an absolute minimum. That way we're not seeing anything mitigate off the project site and keeping this as clean as possible. One other item too, as we do begin the off-haul of the demolition material, we do anticipate to try and be as cautious as we can with traffic hours. We understand that we are just adjacent to a school. We want to ensure that we are working around the school drop-off and pickup to ensure that we're not working around those times with heavy truck traffic on the roads. So something that we are very cautious of as well.
Demolition is ongoing and should be complete by spring 2024. In more good news for St. Croix, the transition into JFL North, the temporary replacement for the Governor Wong F. Louis Hospital, was a success. ODR's Director Adrienne L. Williams-Octalien spoke to hospital CEO Doug Cook to get the specifics.
Well, the transition couldn't have gone better than expected. We moved on Saturday, April 22nd. We moved all of our patients, all of our services over within a very short period of time. I think our first patient left JFL Main at 7:15 in the morning, and the final patient arrived here in JFL North at 12:17 in the afternoon. So within a 5-hour period, we were able to transition the whole hospital and services over to our new location.
Absolutely impressive. And I know this isn't your first rodeo, you've done this before. Any differences between your past experiences and this one?
Well, yes, I mean, very different with regards to the amount of resources available to us. We did this with our existing team. So, take our nurses, for example. While they're packing up their stuff, they're also caring for patients. While they're unpacking their new location, they're also caring for patients. So the amount of resources that we were able to do this with was just exceptional. and I can't be prouder of our teams for what they accomplished.
The obligation of funds to begin the demolition and reconstruction of the permanent hospital is expected to be awarded by FEMA by June 2023. Over on St. Thomas, construction continues at the Nude Hansen complex. The Department of Health and contractor J. Benton Construction are working to complete the $3.7 million WIC reconstruction project ahead of schedule. Keith Williams, project manager for J. Benton Construction, gives us an update.
We started work here early October, starting with site mobilization. We demoed the existing slab, set up in-slab and under-slab site utilities, and since then we've structurally topped out the building. That's first and second floor walls, formed reinforced and poured, as well as the mat slab, second floor deck, and roof deck. What we have going on right now is laying out for our interior framing. We're getting ourselves rolling here. We're going to be installing windows and the exterior curtain wall system in the front of the building on the street side. We have our interior fit out, which includes some really nice wood drop ceilings in certain areas, as well as tile throughout, new kitchen and break room, a kitchen and classroom combination with an operable partition. It's going to be a really good setup here. We think will serve the community well.
Department of Health project specialist Rosalinda Brown also shared some exciting features of the new building.
This new building will feature a new play area for the children. It will also have a new breastfeeding room, a state-of-the-art kitchen for nutritional assistance, and also a new gardening area. We're expected to complete the work by September of 2023.
Business owners, contractors, and consultants interested in doing business with the recovery should visit the ODR website for an updated list of open bid announcements and detailed information. This month, 3 agencies are requesting proposals. They are Schneider Regional Medical Center for the renovation of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Center on St. Thomas, the Department of Public Works for hurricane repairs to the Kings Hill Chapel on St. Croix, and the Virgin Islands Office of Disaster Recovery for its Geotechnical Engineering Services RFP. For more information on these and other open bid announcements, as well as up-to-date news on all other disaster recovery projects in the territory, log on to www.usviodr.com.
Thank you, Artra. It seems like a whole lot is going on across the territory to rebuild these Virgin Islands after Hurricanes Irma and Maria. But as promised, I'm here with the Executive Director for the Waste Management Authority, Mr. Roger Merritt, as well as Alex Bruney, our project engineer for the Christiansted wastewater line replacement project. Tell us, the funding for this project came from where?
The funding came from the Environmental Protection Agency, and they are tasked with providing funding for projects that will protect human health and the environment. This project was awarded to Marco St. Croix in the amount of $8 million, and it's going to allow us to replace wastewater lines that have been here for over 50 years.
Wow, well that's excellent. The federal dollars to good use. And I take it you have charged this gentleman here to oversee the project and make sure it's done correctly.
Yes, that's correct.
So tell us a little bit about the overall project plan and how does it affect the residents of Christiansted?
Well, the overall sewer system is stationed for a life expectancy of between 40 to 60 years. The current system in Christiansted has way surpassed that life expectancy. Mm-hmm. Hence the reason for backup and overflows in the system for the past several years. Once this project is completed, you should see a reduction or elimination of that amount of overflows within the Christiansted area.
And by overflows, you mean when there's sewage running in the streets?
Correct.
Well, that's excellent news for the residents of Christiansted, but I know that these projects cause a level of inconvenience. What has the Waste Management Authority done, or what are the plans that they've given and instructions given to Marcus St. Croix to do things like keep the dust down or to revert traffic patterns?
Well, as far as the dust control is concerned, there is a water truck on site that continually places water on the site to keep the dust level down. Traffic control wise, what we're doing is taking it street by street in order to minimize the impact to the community. Once we excavate a site, what we're trying to do is to backfill it immediately, and that way we can have reuse of the street within a day or two.
So when you replace, so sometimes we see trenches, open trenches that are backfilled that affects the road. and the integrity of the road. What is the overall scope for replacing after the trenches have been closed?
Once the trench has been closed, we're going to come back within the next few weeks and asphalt within a certain area of our excavation.
Okay, so you don't do the entire road?
No.
And you can give us just an update as why the entire road is not repaved?
Well, when we're doing the project, we have to make sure we do it as Mr. Bruney stated. We have to do it on a street by street or section by section basis, and then after that we'll come back and pave the road. So you can't pave everything all at one time.
Okay. Well, there you have it. So of course I got the $1 million question. How long will this take? And is the project on schedule?
The project is on schedule, but because of the nature of how we had to schedule the project street by street, it's going to take approximately 18 months to 2 years to complete.
The entire project?
The entire project.
Well, and your plans include advising the community about where you are and any instructions for traversing that particular street?
That's correct.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. We'll into this for maybe how many more months?
Another 16 to 18 months.
Another 16 to 18 months, but the Waste Management Authority promises that it will be a brand new sewer system in the town of Christiansted. I want to encourage you to keep up with what's going on with the recovery by staying locked to our website, usviodr.com, or tuning in on the last Thursday of every month to WTJX Channel 12 for Recovery in Focus. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will continue to build a legacy of resilience.